The Network of Women in Media India was officially launched on a cold winter's day, Wednesday, January 30th, 2002. That was the last day of the first ever 3-day meeting of Indian media women from across the country. It took place at the India International Centre in New Delhi and included serious talks and discussions, plenty of fun, and above all, the lively, bordering on furious debates that have become the hallmark of NWMI get-togethers.
There was no way of knowing whether this network, non-hierarchical and diverse as it was, would last. But here we are. It's been 2 decades, and I'm glad to say I had a small part to play in the beginning.
What I remember most about that first meeting that we had in Delhi was the laughter and the camaraderie. I mean, it is unusual given that we were almost 100 women, all highly ambitious in this cutthroat world of journalism, where this kind of, solidarity and network building is not the norm.
What I also remember about that year is that just a month after that IIC meeting of NWMI, we actually saw the Gujarat pogrom, the Godhra incident, the riots in Gujarat, the brutality of that. And we all got sucked into reading, reporting, and thinking and talking about that. NWMI Mumbai later actually produced a very good report looking at media analysis of how the media had covered Gujarat in Western India, how the media in Bombay had covered it across many different languages.
We have put together a founding charter reflecting issues of concern relating to media and women in the media. These included job security, working conditions, media content, credibility, ethics, and independence. The remarkable thing is that these are all issues still very relevant 20 years later.
We saw it happen. 100 media women, different regions, languages, backgrounds, building a strong network. That day, the harsh cold winter of Delhi melted into the warmth of solidarity. We saw it happen.
So many of us met, women journalists I had never met before, but there was so much hope and passion in us. And now 20 years later, we are celebrating.
It was a wonderful experience, being with all these women journalists, seeing them dressed in gorgeous, colorful saris and dresses, talking, laughing, sharing experiences. It was a great conference.
Bonding over breakfast. Then you will, first day you would just shyly go to your own group or your table, and then the next day you get a little bolder, then the next and the next, and by the time NWMI was born, there was more laughter, there were newer friends you carried back home.
The second national meeting of the NWMI was held in Mumbai in 2004. This featured what might have probably been the first ever discussion on sexual harassment in media workplaces. Women journalists talked about their experiences and, as importantly, the pushback. To date, 15 national meetings have been held in almost as many places across the country and almost every year. The format is usually for 3 days, and apart from the sessions, which are in-depth panel discussions and so on, we also have skill-building workshops. And what are really the highlight of these national meetings is getting to know colleagues from across the country, new ones, and strengthening bonds with our old friends.
We have 17 chapters spread across India. Local chapters meet periodically and organize special events like film screenings, talks, seminars, book launches, exhibitions, and music performances. Most local chapters have their own WhatsApp and email groups. Some also have Facebook pages.
The NWMI recognized sexual harassment at the media workplace as a serious problem since its inception. The Bangalore network conducted the first survey of sexual harassment at workplace in Indian media back in 2001, even before the national network was launched in January 2002. The NWMI's first statement on a case of sexual harassment in a media workplace dates back to 2003. We continue to stand with all survivors of sexual assault and harassment and pledge to strengthen our struggle to ensure safety for women at work.
2003 NWMI தன்னோட ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்ஸ் அறிக்கைகளை கொடுத்துட்டு தான் இருக்கு. முதல் அறிக்கை எதற்காக வெளிவந்ததுன்னா, மீடியா ஒர்க் பிளேசஸில் ஊடக நிறுவனங்களில் நடக்கக்கூடிய செக்ஷுவல் ஹராஸ்மெண்ட் பற்றின அறிக்கை தான் முதல் அறிக்கை. அன்றிலிருந்து இன்றைக்கு வரைக்கும் மீடூ மூமெண்ட் பற்றியோ, ஊடக சுதந்திரம் பற்றியோ, அல்லது ஊடக அறம் எங்கெல்லாம் மீறப்படுதோ அதையெல்லாம் பற்றியோ, ஆன்லைன் அப்யூசஸ் பற்றியோ, இந்த மாதிரி எங்கே எது நடந்தாலும் முதல் குரலாக NWMI குரல் ஒலிக்குது தன்னுடைய அறிக்கைகள் மூலமாக.
NWMI पत्रकारों के अधिकार, कर्तव्य और हमारी मजबूती सार्वजनिक स्थिति, व्यक्तिगत और सामूहिक दोनों स्थिति में न्याय देने के लिए विभिन्न संघर्षी महिला पत्रकारों के साथ है और एकजुटता और समर्थता दर्शाती है. हम अपने निर्भीक और प्रतिबद्धता में अपने सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से एक साथ साझा कर सकते हैं.
NWMI's Media Elections and Gender blog was launched during the general elections of 2014. The aim was to look at elections and their media coverage with a gender point of view. In the year 2020, the blog moved to a revamped website.
From 2006 to 2010, the network anchored the Anupama Jairaman Memorial Award. This award was instituted by the family of the dedicated and talented young journalist who passed away prematurely in 2006.
2017 नेटवर्क समस्त सदस्यों मिलित सहयोग फेलोशिप लॉन्च करा जाइथिला एवं मु होची से फेलोशिप प्रथम प्राप्तकर्ता. वार्षिक फेलोशिप जहाँकि दूर दूरांत संघर्षपूर्ण एरिया मानकरे जो साहसी टैलेंटेड महिला माने काम करुचंती सेमानक पई प्रयोज्य अटे.
मो छड़ा एपर्यंत आम पाखरे 5 जण फेलोस अछंती. अंबिका राजा, मोहरूप गाजी, कविता कट्टा एवं 2021 फेलो अखिला ईश्वन.
Throughout the events, NWMI has been involved in various activities, like we have been participating in Global Media Monitoring Project GMMP since 2010. We carried out surveys on sexual harassment. We brought out a report on situation of media and journalists in Kashmir after the abrogation of Article 370. We also analyzed gender representation in TV panels and reporting during the COVID.
As part of a campaign for independent journalists, a database of 100 media outlets with details of contacts and rates was created. Our Charter for Independent Journalists can be found online.
We also conducted a study on the representation of women in Indian TV news channels in 2019. In 2020, we examined missing gender perspectives in COVID-19 reportage for another study. 12 publications in 7 languages were analyzed by NWMIers from Guwahati to Thrissur.
The best part of our national meets has always been that they are face-to-face, but COVID played a spoiler after the last get-together in Bangalore in early February 2020. We met online in December the same year. The disruption caused by pandemic also resulted in hundreds of journalists and media workers losing their jobs overnight.
Many media organizations have announced large-scale retrenchments and even closures. In addition, staff of media houses across the country have reportedly been coerced into accepting salary cuts, loss of pay, leave and furloughs.
From May 2020, NWMI conducted a series of open-to-all webinars titled Let Down in Lockdown.
With the help of a team of volunteers from the network, 7 webinars were conducted from May 2020. We also conducted a paid workshop on data journalism. These online events covered topics including dealing with job loss and insecurity, exploring legal options, understanding the opportunities and challenges of freelancing, examining the impact of the pandemic on independent media companies, and checking out established media startups in a difficult environment.
But job losses weren't the worst of journalists' worries. Hundreds of media workers lost their lives during the pandemic. As a tribute, we launched In Memoriam Lest We Forget in 2021, a crowdsourced listing of Indian journalists and media workers who passed away during the deadly second wave of COVID-19 in India.
As the Taliban took over Afghanistan in August 2021, many hard-earned freedoms are being eroded. Particularly women's rights, freedom of speech and freedom of press are under threat. In this context, NWMI has launched a fundraiser for Afghan media women. Funds were raised through the sale of photographs taken by international photographers for the Associated Press.
The collection brought together photographs from some of AP's bravest and most talented visual journalists, providing glimpses into the daily life in Afghanistan for more than 2 decades. We are grateful for the support of many of these photographers who helped amplify the fundraiser. The response was overwhelming, and we managed to collect around $100,000, which has been dispersed to more than 30 Afghan media women over the past 7 months. We also brought out a report with IFJ, interviewing 8 Afghan women journalists.
आज हमारा NWMI नेटवर्क 600 से ज़्यादा मेंबर्स के साथ उन्नति की मार्ग पर बढ़ता चला जा रहा है और हमारा कोई अपना ऑफिस, फिजिकल ऑफिस या स्टाफ नहीं है। और ये एक पॉजिटिव साइन है क्योंकि इस नेटवर्क के सारे मेंबर्स मिलकर आपसी सहयोग और सामंजस्य से इसे और मजबूत बनाते हैं। बात चाहे आर्थिक सहयोग की हो, समय के योगदान की हो या फिर मीटिंग्स की, इसके सारे मेंबर आपस में जुड़ते हैं और इसे रोज पर रोज विकास के मार्ग में आगे बढ़ाते चले जा रहे हैं।
Don't forget to visit our website nwmindia.org. Our membership details are there. Also follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel.